Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turn out a poem 778, This That Would Greet an Hour Ago. Now, in many ways in this poem, we're back to poem 53. You guys will maybe remember this poem. Taken from men this morning, carried by men today, met by the gods with banners who marshaled her away. One little maid from playmates, one little mind from school. There must be guests in Eden, all the rooms are full. Far as the east from even, dim as the border star, courtiers quaint in kingdoms, our departed are. This is another death poem, so you can write that one down. The this of this poem right away, the antecedent of the pronoun. Emily's the great poet of grammar. So many, Christine Miller and others have pointed this out. She loves to play around with words. She's playing all the time, as we've commented on. And for her, the this of this poem is, in fact, a recently died individual who we don't know. But we do know that she is now, in this poem, going to be wrestling with the very question of death and dying. Our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily's our playlist. Hopefully you've worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 777 poems. We just finished with 777, The Loneliness One Dare Not Sound. Now, Emily, along with Dante, many have argued, is the great poet of death and the speculations of death. I mean, think of it. I heard a buzz fly when I died. I mean, the poems that we've already studied, guys, where she is grappling with the question of what does it mean to talk about death? Well, we call it the greatest mystery, no doubt. 1 second, you're speaking with an individual, and another second, post-mortem, you are not. What is that about? She'll grapple with it this way. This that would greet an hour ago is quaintest distance now. Had it a guest from paradise, nor glow would it, nor bow. Had it a notice from the noon, nor beam would it, nor warm. Match me the silver reticence. Match me the solid calm. Now the identification with the dying is, of course, not unusual for Emily. She'll play that game so many times. Again, I heard a flybus when I died comes to mind. The language, of course, syntax is intentionally obtuse. She's trying to come to the root of the mystery of dying and death. This that would greet, as in all you have to do is right after the word this, put the word person, and then the poem will open rather easily. This person that would greet an hour ago is quaintest distance now. In other words, recently passed. It's over now. Had it a guest, that notice the it pronoun instead of the he or the she. Had it a guest from paradise. In other words, if there was someone from the afterlife who showed up, nor glow would it, nor bow. In other words, there is no recognition moment on the part of the corpse. It's over. It's done. Had it, notice the repetitions here, a notice from the noon. In other words, the dead can't appreciate seeing the sunshine of the noon, nor beam would it, nor warm. In other words, no longer is it concerned with the issues of living, staying warm, for example, or staying cool. And then finally, what does she want to say about this corpse? Match me, the silver reticence. Now, the key word probably of the poem is reticence, no doubt. Emily, uncertain as to exactly what it means to qualify somebody as past or dead. Match me, the solid calm. Now, it is interesting that the last word of the poem is calm. And some have read this poem and said, it does have a very calming kind of tone. It's not hysteria. She is not pulling out her hair, thinking about the horrors of death and dying. Rather, there's a sense of acceptance. Can we say that? A sense of acceptance that this is what death is. The uncertainty, of course, of it all. And at 2a, I think that's the point. It's impossible, that's the message here, for the living to completely understand the dying. It's beyond our grasp in some profound way. At 2b, well, obviously the pronouns and the grammar are playing games. This and it, obviously, who are we in reference to? At 3A, well, I mean, there's just so many titles that we could connect this one to. I'd like to think of our study of T.S. Eliot and The Wasteland of 1922, Part 1. Remember the line, "I had not thought death had undone so many," which of course is a borrowing from Dante's Inferno, Canto 3. Again, in many ways, when we meet these poems of Emily's that are somehow trying to wrestle with the question of what does it mean to die, she's really playing the game of Dante for sure. Finally, at 3B, to own a poem like this for yourself, how do you wrestle with the concept of death, of mortality? And how reticent are you? How calm are you? Thank you.